I always loved exploring old houses. There was something thrilling about finding hidden rooms, dusty furniture, and forgotten memories. That's why I was so excited when I saw the sign that said, "Open House" on the gate of the mansion on the hill. I had always wondered what secrets it held. I parked my car and walked up the driveway. The house looked even more impressive up close. It had a Gothic style, with pointed arches, stained glass windows, and gargoyles on the roof. The door was unlocked, so I entered without hesitation. The inside was dark and silent. I could hear my own footsteps echoing on the wooden floor. I looked around and saw a grand staircase, a fireplace, and several paintings on the walls. I decided to start with the ground floor and explore the rooms. I found a library, a dining room, a kitchen, and a study. They were all filled with books, antiques, and curiosities. I felt like I had stepped into another era. I was so fascinated that I didn't notice the time passing by. I checked my watch and realized it was getting late. I decided to head back to the entrance and leave. But when I reached the hall, I saw something that made me freeze in horror. The door was gone. There was only a blank wall where the door used to be. I felt a surge of panic and ran to the windows. They were all boarded up. I tried to break them, but they were too strong. I was trapped. I screamed for help, but no one answered. I wondered if anyone could hear me. I wondered if anyone knew I was here. I heard a creaking sound behind me. I turned around and saw a shadowy figure standing at the top of the staircase. It was wearing a long black cloak and a hood that hid its face. It held a scythe in its hand. It spoke in a raspy voice. "Welcome to my house. You are my guest now, and you will never leave." I felt a chill run down my spine. I realized I had made a terrible mistake. I had entered the house of death. I backed away from the figure, looking for a way to escape. But there was none. The house was a maze of corridors and rooms, all leading to dead ends. I was hopelessly lost. The figure descended the staircase, slowly and steadily. It seemed to enjoy my fear. It taunted me with its words. "You can run, but you can't hide. I know every inch of this house. I've been here for centuries, and so will you." I felt a surge of anger and defiance. I refused to give up. I refused to be its prey. I looked around and saw a fireplace poker. I grabbed it and swung it at the figure. It dodged my attack and laughed. "Is that the best you can do? You are no match for me. I am death itself. I have taken countless lives, and I will take yours." It raised its scythe and slashed at me. I barely dodged its blade. I felt a gust of cold air as it passed by my neck. I knew I had only seconds to live. I ran to the nearest door and opened it. I hoped it would lead me to safety, but it only led me to more horror. It was a torture chamber. I saw racks, chains, hooks, and knives. I saw bloodstains and bones. I saw bodies of previous victims, mutilated and decayed. I smelled death and decay. I gagged and turned around, but it was too late. The figure was behind me. It grabbed me by the collar and threw me into the room. It locked the door and smiled. "Now, let the fun begin." I screamed and struggled, but it was useless. The figure had me pinned to a table. It took a knife from the wall and held it above my chest. It said, "Don't worry, this won't hurt a bit." Well, maybe a little. Or a lot. It depends on how much you scream. It plunged the knife into my heart. I felt a sharp pain and a warm blood spilling out of me. I gasped and choked. I saw its face for the first time. It was a skull. A grinning skull. It said, "How do you like that? Do you feel alive? Do you feel anything at all?" It twisted the knife and laughed. I felt a wave of agony and darkness. I knew I was dying. I knew I was doomed. I closed my eyes and prayed. I prayed for a miracle. I prayed for a way out. And then I heard a voice. It said, "Oh, wake up. Wake up. It's just a nightmare." I opened my eyes and saw a familiar face. It was my friend. He was shaking me and calling my name. He said, "Hey, are you okay? You were having a bad dream. You were screaming and thrashing. What were you dreaming about?" I looked around and saw that I was in my own bedroom. It was morning. The sun was shining through the window. The birds were singing. It was a beautiful day. I realized it was all a dream. A horrible, terrible dream. I had never entered the house on the hill. I had never met the figure in the cloak. I had never seen the torture chamber. It was all in my head. I felt a surge of relief and joy. I hugged my friend and thanked him. I told him it was nothing. Just a bad dream. Nothing more. But as I said that, I felt a sting in my chest. I looked down and saw a small wound. A wound that looked like a knife wound. A wound that was bleeding. I felt a chill run down my spine. I wondered if it was really a dream, or if it was something else, something worse. I never believed in ghosts until I moved into this old mansion. It was a bargain, too good to pass up. The previous owners had left in a hurry, leaving behind most of their belongings. They said they had to move for work, but I suspected there was something else going on. The first night, I heard strange noises coming from the attic. I thought it was just rats or squirrels, so I ignored it. The second night, I felt a cold breeze in my bedroom, even though the windows were closed. I thought it was just a draft, so I pulled the blankets over me. The third night, I saw a shadowy figure standing at the foot of my bed. I thought it was just a nightmare, so I closed my eyes and prayed. The fourth night, I woke up to a loud scream. It was coming from the basement. I grabbed a flashlight and a baseball bat and ran downstairs. I opened the door and saw a horrifying sight. There was a woman chained to the wall, covered in blood and bruises. She looked at me with terror in her eyes and begged me to help her. She said she had been kidnapped by the previous owners, who tortured her every night. She said they were part of a cult that worshipped the devil. She said they had summoned a demon that haunted the house. She said it was too late for her, but I had to get out before it was too late for me. I was shocked and scared. I wanted to help her, but I also wanted to run away. I didn't know what to do. Then I heard a loud thud behind me. I turned around and saw the door slammed shut. I tried to open it, but it was locked. I heard a sinister laugh echo through the house. I realized I was trapped. I realized I was not alone. I realized I was doomed. I panicked and banged on the door, hoping someone would hear me. But the house was isolated, far away from any neighbors. I was alone with the demon. I heard footsteps coming closer. I looked around for a weapon, but there was nothing. The only thing I had was the flashlight and the baseball bat. I knew they were useless against a supernatural entity, but I had to try something. I turned off the flashlight and hid behind a pile of boxes. I hoped the demon wouldn't see me. I heard the door open and a cold wind enter the room. I felt a chill run down my spine. I heard the demon sniff the air, as if searching for my scent. I heard it say in a raspy voice, "Oh, where are you, little mouse? I can smell your fear. I can taste your blood. I can hear your heartbeat. You can't hide from me. I will find you, and I will make you suffer." I trembled and tried to calm myself. I knew the demon was toying with me, trying to break me down. I knew I had to be brave, even if it was hopeless. I waited for the right moment to strike. I heard the demon move closer to the boxes. I saw its shadow on the wall. It was tall and thin, with horns and claws. It looked like a nightmare. It reached for the boxes and lifted them up. It saw me and grinned. It said, "There you are. I've been looking for you. You're mine now." I screamed and swung the bat at its head. It dodged and grabbed my arm. It twisted it and made me drop the bat. It threw me to the ground and pinned me down. It leaned over me and opened its mouth. It had sharp teeth and a long tongue. It said, "We are brave, but foolish. You can't hurt me. I'm stronger than you. I'm older than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm the master of this house. And you're my guest. My dinner guest." I felt its breath on my face. It smelled like death. I felt its tongue on my neck. It felt like fire. I felt its teeth on my skin. It felt like hell. I felt its pain in my soul. It felt like the end. I felt a sharp pain in my neck as the demon bit me. I felt my blood drain from my body. I felt my life fade away. I felt my eyes close. I thought it was over. I thought I was dead. But I was wrong. I opened my eyes and saw a bright light. I heard a voice say, "A welcome to heaven, my child. You have suffered enough. You are free now. You are safe now. You are home now." I felt a warm embrace. I felt a peace I had never felt before. I felt a joy I had never felt before. I felt a love I had never felt before. I realized I was in the arms of God. I realized I was saved. I realized I was alive. I thank God for His mercy. I thank God for His grace. I thank God for His gift. I thank God for His Son. I thank God for everything. I looked around and saw a beautiful place. I saw angels singing. I saw saints praising. I saw flowers blooming. I saw rivers flowing. I saw animals playing. I saw people smiling. I saw heaven. I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around and saw a familiar face. It was the woman from the basement. She was healed and whole. She was radiant and glorious. She was happy and free. She said, "Hello, friend. I'm glad you made it. I've been waiting for you. I have something to show you. Come with me." She took my hand and led me to a golden gate. She opened it and showed me a mansion. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. It was bigger than the one I had lived in. It was brighter than the one I had died in. It was better than anything I had ever imagined. She said, "This is your new home. This is where you belong. This is where you will live forever. This is where you will be happy. This is where you will be loved. This is where you will be with God." She hugged me and said, "A welcome to heaven, my friend. Welcome to heaven.